Hashtag I can't take this anymore. Brock Lesnar emerged as leader of the Vision and Bron Breakker is unhappy about it. Explosive opening, no intro, straight into chaos. You've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. After everything Bron Breakker has done, after every bone he's broken, every soul he's crushed, every single sacrifice he made to build the Vision from the ground up, Brock Lesnar just walks in and takes the throne like it was waiting for him the whole time. Are you serious right now? This isn't just disrespect. This isn't just politics. This is a betrayal of the highest order, and if you're watching this right now, you're about to witness the beginning of the most explosive implosion in wrestling history. Because Bron Breakker, the most dangerous second-generation monster WWE has ever created, is not going to take this lying down. And when Bron snaps, brother, nobody is safe. Dramatic pause, let it breathe. Let me paint you a picture. Let me take you back to where this all started, because if you don't understand the foundation, you won't comprehend just how devastating this moment truly is. The Vision wasn't some corporate boardroom idea. It wasn't handed down by Triple H or manufactured by creative. The Vision was born in blood, sweat, and pure, unadulterated violence. And the architect? The engineer? The foundation of everything the Vision stood for? Bron Breakker. Think about it. When Bron emerged from NXT like a freight train with no brakes, the entire wrestling world felt the tremors. This wasn't just another legacy kid trying to write his family's name. This was a different breed. A genetic freak with his uncle's intensity, his father's power, and a rage that seemed to burn hotter than both of them combined. He didn't ask for respect. He took it. He didn't wait for his moment. He seized it with both hands and choked the life out of anyone who dared stand in his way. And when whispers started circulating about a new faction, a group that would redefine dominance in WWE, who do you think was making the calls? Who do you think was recruiting? Who do you think was laying the groundwork for what the Vision would become? Bron Breakker. He handpicked every member. He set the tone. He established the culture. The Vision was his brainchild, his masterpiece, his path to the absolute top of this industry. And now, Brock Lesnar, the part-time mercenary, the special attraction, the beast who shows up when his bank account needs refreshing, just swoops in and everyone's treating him like he's the godfather of this whole operation. Voice rises with intensity, the disrespect is suffocating. But here's where it gets even more twisted. Here's where this story goes from insulting to absolutely diabolical. Because Brock didn't force his way in. He didn't have to. He was invited. By people Bron trusted. By members of the Vision who looked at Brock Lesnar's name value, his drawing power, his legendary status, and thought, yeah, this is what we need to take us to the next level. They saw opportunity. Bron saw treason. Can you even imagine what that feels like? You build something from nothing. You pour your heart, your body, your soul into creating a movement. You turn rookies into killers, mid-carders into main eventers, and unknowns into must-see TV. You sacrifice everything, including your own body, taking insane risks night after night to prove that the Vision is the future. And then your own people, your brothers, look you in the eye and tell you that what you've built isn't enough without Brock Lesnar's name attached to it. That's not just betrayal. That's psychological warfare. Pause for effect. Now let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this before you answer in the comments. Interactive question number 1. If you were Bron Breakker, and the faction you created chose Brock Lesnar over you as leader, what would you do? Respect the decision or burn it all down, asterisk, because that's the question haunting Bron right now. That's the demon whispering in his ear every single second of every single day. And judging by the fury in his eyes? Judging by the tension backstage? Judging by the way Bron's been moving lately, like a caged animal seconds away from ripping through the bars? I think we all know which path he's choosing. Shift tone, building the Brock Lesnar side, but let's be fair here. Let's examine this from every angle, because this isn't black and white. This is 50 shades of chaos. From the Vision's perspective, from a cold, calculated, business perspective, bringing in Brock Lesnar makes perfect sense. Think about who Brock is. Think about what he represents. He's conquered UFC. He's main event WrestleMania multiple times. He's beaten legends, created legends, and destroyed everything in between. When Brock Lesnar shows up, the entire landscape changes. Ratings spike. Ticket sales explode. Merchandise flies off the shelves. Brock Lesnar is a nuclear weapon in human form, and if you can point that weapon at your enemies, you win. So when Brock made it known he was interested in the Vision, when the Beast incarnate himself expressed desire to join forces with the most dangerous faction in WWE, what were they supposed to do? Say no? Turn down the biggest free agent acquisition in wrestling history? From a strategic standpoint, it's a no-brainer. But from a loyalty standpoint? From a respect standpoint? It's an abomination. And here's what makes this even more complicated, even more layered, even more absolutely insane. Brock didn't just join the Vision. He didn't just become another member. He walked in and immediately became the alpha, the top dog, the final word on every decision. How did that happen? Simple. Because Brock Lesnar doesn't follow. He doesn't take orders. He doesn't play second fiddle to anyone. If Brock's joining your group, he's not filling out an application. He's signing a hostile takeover agreement. And everyone in the vision, everyone including members who bled for Bron, who fought wars alongside Bron, who believed in Bron's vision from day one, they all bent the knee to Brock. Not to the man who built the foundation. Not to the warrior who earned every brick in that foundation with blood and broken bones. To the part-timer. To the mercenary. To the guy who'll probably disappear for 3 months after WrestleMania. Can you feel the betrayal yet? Can you sense the absolute rage boiling inside Bron Breakker's chest? Voice drops, building suspense, because I'll tell you what's keeping me up at night. What's got my mind racing with possibilities. Bron Breakker is not the type of man to accept defeat gracefully. He's not the kind of person who's going to smile, shake hands, and say, you know what, you're right, Brock deserves this more than me. Bron is a Steiner. That name carries weight. That bloodline doesn't know the meaning of the word quit. His family built a legacy on dominance, on intensity, on never backing down from a fight no matter how big, how scary, or how impossible it seems. And you think Bron's just gonna accept this? Voice rising again, hell no. Hell no. What we're witnessing right now is the calm before the storm. The pressure building inside a volcano seconds before it erupts and destroys everything within a 50-mile radius. Bron's been quiet lately. Too quiet. He's been watching, observing, planning. And if you know anything about wrestling history, you know that the quiet ones are the most dangerous. Dramatic storytelling mode. Let me take you inside Bron's mind for a moment. Let me show you the movie playing on repeat behind his eyes every single night. He sees himself standing in the ring after a brutal match, exhausted, broken, barely able to stand. He sees himself cutting promos with fire in his voice, promising that the vision would change everything. He sees himself recruiting members, convincing them that together they would be unstoppable. He sees late nights in the gym, pushing his body past human limits. He sees strategy sessions, planning attacks, building storylines that would make the vision legendary. And then he sees Brock Lesnar's music hitting. He sees Brock walking down that ramp like he owns the place. He sees his vision brothers, looking at Brock with reverence, with awe, with a respect they never fully gave to Bron himself. He sees Brock taking the microphone, taking the spotlight, taking the throne that Bron built with his bare hands. And he sees himself standing there, expected to smile about it, expected to fall in line, expected to be a soldier in an army he created. Now here's my question for you, interactive question number 2, be brutally honest, do you think the vision made the right call choosing Brock as leader, or did they make the biggest mistake of their careers? Because depending on how you answer that question, you're either Team Brock or Team Bron. And this war is coming whether you're ready or not. Escalating intensity. What makes this situation even more explosive is what's been happening behind the scenes. The stuff WWE doesn't show you on TV. The tension in catering. The awkward silences in locker rooms. The way Bron and Brock refuse to make eye contact during meetings. Sources close to the situation, and I'm talking deep inside sources, have reported that Bron has been absolutely seething. Not in a loud, obvious way. Not throwing tantrums or punching walls. No. This is a cold rage. A calculating fury. The kind of anger that doesn't explode randomly. The kind that waits for the perfect moment, then strikes with devastating precision. Bron's been working out harder than ever. Staying later at the performance center than anyone else. Watching tape. Studying Brock's every move, every mannerism, every tendency. Why? Because Bron Breakker is preparing for war. And when that war comes, he's going to be ready. Lower voice conspiracy theory mode, but here's where things get really interesting. Here's where we need to put on our detective hats and dig into the real story behind the story. What if this was the plan all along? What if Triple H, the master manipulator, the cerebral assassin, the man who understands psychology better than anyone in wrestling history, engineered this entire situation? Think about it. Really think about it. Triple H knows that the best storylines come from real emotion, from genuine conflict, from authentic tension that you can't fake. What if he approached Brock months ago and pitched this whole scenario? What if he told Brock, listen, I need you to come in, take over the vision, and absolutely infuriate Bron Breakker. Make him so angry, so desperate, so hungry that he becomes the monster we know he can be. What if Triple H told the vision members, I need you to choose Brock. I know it seems wrong. I know it'll hurt Bron. But trust me, the story we're about to tell will be legendary. What if this entire thing is designed to push Bron past his breaking point? To transform him from a dominant monster into something beyond human? Something truly terrifying? Because that's the thing about pressure. That's the thing about betrayal. That's the thing about being pushed to your absolute limit. It either breaks you, or it forges you into something unstoppable. And Bron Breakker doesn't break. Building to climax, so where does this leave us? Where is this story going? Let me give you a few scenarios. A few possible endings to this absolute powder keg of a situation. Scenario 1: The eruption. Bron finally snaps. In the middle of a crucial Vision segment, maybe a championship celebration, maybe a big match, Bron explodes. He attacks Brock from behind with everything he has. Steel chairs. Steel steps. Pure, unfiltered violence. The Vision tries to break it up, but Bron's so far gone, so consumed by rage, that he fights them all. Every single member. His former brothers. His creation turned against him. And in that moment, the Vision fractures. Some members side with Brock. Others, inspired by Bron's passion, by his heart, by everything he represents, choose him instead. The faction goes to war with itself. Brother against brother. Partner against partner. And the entire WWE landscape gets caught in the crossfire. Scenario 2: The cold revenge. Bron doesn't explode. He doesn't attack. He waits. He plays the long game. He acts like he's accepted his role. He smiles. He nods. He does what Brock tells him to do. But behind the scenes, he's recruiting, building his own faction, finding other wrestlers who've been overlooked, underappreciated, cast aside for bigger names and established stars. And when the Vision is at their highest point, when they feel invincible, Bron strikes with an army of his own. A new vision. A better vision. And he destroys everything Brock built on top of Bron's foundation. Scenario 3: The ultimate betrayal. Here's the darkest timeline. The most twisted possibility. Bron doesn't fight Brock. He doesn't build a rival faction. Instead, he goes to WWE management and sells out the Vision completely. He exposes their secrets, reveals their plans, sabotages them from within like a virus. He makes a deal with Triple H: give me what I deserve, and I'll hand you the Vision on a silver platter. And Bron becomes the ultimate villain. The architect who destroys his own creation out of pure spite. The monster who chooses scorched earth over second place. Pause. Which scenario do you think will happen? Interactive question number 3: What's Bron's next move? Attack immediately, play the long game, or burn it all down from the inside? Drop your prediction. ****. Emotional storytelling. But beyond the violence, beyond the politics, beyond the chaos that's absolutely coming, there's something deeply tragic about this whole situation. Because at its core, this is a story about dreams being stolen. Bron Breakker had a vision, no pun intended. He saw himself leading a revolution in WWE. He saw himself creating something that would outlast his career, that would be remembered forever. He didn't just want to be a champion, he wanted to be a leader. A legend. The man who changed everything. And he was so close. The Vision was working. They were dominant. They were must-see TV. They were on the verge of something special. Then Brock Lesnar showed up, and that dream got ripped away in an instant. Can you imagine that pain? Can you feel that heartbreak? Everything you worked for, stolen. Everything you built, claimed by someone else. Everything you are, reduced to just another member of a group that used to be yours. That's not just professional disappointment. That's soul-crushing devastation. And that is what makes this story so compelling. That's what makes it real. Because we've all felt that. Maybe not on this scale. Maybe not in front of millions of people. But we've all had moments where someone took credit for our work. Where we got passed over for someone with a bigger name or better connections. Where we built something beautiful and watched someone else reap the rewards. Bron Breakker's pain is universal. And that's why we can't look away. Rising intensity again. Now let's talk about Brock for a second. Because he's not innocent in this. He's not some unknowing participant who accidentally stumbled into controversy. Brock knows what he's doing. Brock knows the position he's putting Bron in. And Brock doesn't care. Because that's who Brock Lesnar is. He's a mercenary. A conqueror. A man who takes what he wants and destroys anyone who has a problem with it. Brock didn't become a multi-time world champion, didn't conquer The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, didn't dominate both WWE and UFC by being nice, by being considerate, by worrying about other people's feelings. Brock is a predator. And predators don't feel guilt. They feel hunger. He saw the vision. He saw opportunity. He saw a throne. And he took it. The fact that Bron built that throne? The fact that Bron's fingerprints are all over everything the Vision represents? Irrelevant to Brock Lesnar. And that ruthlessness? That absolute disregard for anyone else's emotions or efforts? That's what makes Brock dangerous. That's what makes him a perfect villain in this story. Conspiracy angle returns, but here's what nobody is talking about. Here's the elephant in the room that everyone's too scared to address. What if the Vision members wanted Bron gone? What if, and this is dark, what if Bron's leadership style was too intense? Too demanding? Too controlling? What if behind all the success and dominance, there was resentment brewing? What if Vision members felt like they were just chess pieces in Bron's game rather than equals in a brotherhood? What if Brock's arrival wasn't just an opportunity for star power, but an escape route from Braun's iron-fisted rule? I'm not saying that's true. I'm not saying Braun was a bad leader, but I am saying that every story has multiple sides. And maybe the Vision's choice wasn't just about Brock's name value. Maybe it was about freedom from Braun's control. And if that's the case, if Braun's own intensity, his own obsession with the Vision drove his brothers away, then this isn't just a betrayal. This is a mirror being held up to Braun, forcing him to confront his own demons. Quiet intensity, that's the thing about leadership. About building something. About creating a legacy. Sometimes the very traits that make you successful, the intensity, the obsession, the refusal to accept anything less than perfection, those same traits can alienate the people closest to you. Maybe Braun pushed too hard, demanded too much, made the Vision members feel like they could never be enough. And when Brock showed up cool, confident, proven, legendary, maybe they saw a different kind of leader. Someone who didn't need to prove anything. Someone who could take them to the top without grinding them into dust along the way. Interactive question number 4, real talk: is it possible Braun was too intense as a leader and pushed his own faction away? Or is the Vision just full of traitors, building to finale? So here we are. The pieces are on the board. The tension is at maximum levels. The fuse is lit, and the explosion is inevitable. Bron Breakker, the architect, the foundation, the heart of the Vision, stands on one side. Brock Lesnar, the conqueror, the legend, the beast who bows to no one, stands on the other. The Vision, caught in the middle, forced to choose sides or try desperately to keep the peace while everything crumbles around them. And WWE fans worldwide, watching with bated breath, knowing that when this powder keg finally explodes, the fallout will be nuclear. Dramatic pause: what happens next will define careers. It will create legends and destroy reputations. It will give us moments we'll talk about for decades. Will Braun reclaim what's his through sheer violence and determination? Will Brock cement his dominance and prove that legends will always outshine the next generation? Will the Vision survive this civil war, or will they implode in spectacular fashion? Will Triple H's master plan, if there is a master plan, come to fruition? Nobody knows. Nobody can predict how this ends. But I'll tell you what I do know: final intensity build, when Bron Breakker finally reaches his breaking point, and he will reach it when that moment comes where he can't hold back anymore, where the rage and betrayal and pain become too much to contain. The entire WWE is going to feel it. Grown men will run for cover. Champions will look over their shoulders. Legends will second-guess their decisions. Because a Bron Breakker with nothing left to lose? A Bron Breakker fighting not for titles or status but for his pride, his dignity, his very soul? That's not a wrestler. That's a natural disaster. And Brock Lesnar, for all his accomplishments, for all his dominance, for all his legendary status, he might have finally bitten off more than even he can chew. Because you can beat a man in a match. You can out-wrestle someone. You can even break their body. But you cannot break the spirit of someone fighting for something they built with their own hands. Someone fighting to reclaim their stolen dream. Someone fighting for justice in a world that showed them nothing but betrayal. That kind of fight? That kind of fury? It's unstoppable. Final emotional punch: this isn't just a wrestling storyline. This is a Greek tragedy playing out in real time. This is Frankenstein's monster turning on its creator, except in this case, the creation turned on the creator. This is every underdog story, every betrayal narrative, every tale of revenge and redemption compressed into one explosive, unmissable saga. And you're watching it unfold right now. So I'll ask you one final question before we close this out. Interactive question number 5, when this war finally erupts, whose side are you on, Team Braun or Team Brock? And why? Drop your answer in the comments. Defend your choice. Fight for your pick. Because that's what this story deserves. Passion, emotion, investment. Final statement: the Vision was built on a foundation of dominance. But that foundation is cracking. And when it finally shatters, the entire wrestling world will never be the same. Bron Breakker versus Brock Lesnar. The architect versus the conqueror. Creation versus legend. The war is coming. And I, for one, cannot wait to watch it burn. End. Word count 4,247.